Hi Dad, Hanukkah is coming soon. Could you tell me if the story of Hanukkah was recorded in the Hebrew Bible?
No, the story was not recorded in the Bible, but in the book of Daniel, written in the 6th century before the Common Era. Prophecy predicted an evil character, Antiochus Epiphanes, who tried to destroy the worship of the Jewish people in the 3rd century before the Common Era. In Daniel chapter 8, there was a prophecy that a Syrian king would arise. He will become very strong, but not by his own power. He will cause a shocking amount of destruction and succeed in everything he does. He will destroy powerful leaders and devastate the holy people. He will be a master of deception and will become arrogant. He will destroy many without warning. He will even take on the prince of princes in battle, but he will be broken, though not by human power. In 168 before the Common Era, the Syrian king Antiochus Epiphanes invaded Jerusalem. The Syrians profaned the holy temple of the Jews. In an attempt to abolish Judaism, he tried to ban the observance of Shabbat, circumcision, and other festivals. He set up altars and idols to worship the Greek god. He even threatened to kill the Jews if they did not comply. The repression triggered a revolt against Antiochus Epiphanes by a group of Jewish fighters led by Judas Maccabees and his family. The story was recorded in the first Maccabees. Though outnumbered, Judah Maccabee and his fighters miraculously won 2 major battles, defeating the Syrians decisively. Then, the Maccabees tried to rededicate the temple previously profaned by the Syrians. They tried to light up the menorah. In the temple, they found a single jar of oil that was placed with the seal of the high priest, which was sufficient for only 1 day. A miracle occurred and they lit the menorah for 8 days with the limited amount of oil they had. The rabbis of the Talmud attributed the 8 days of Hanukkah to the miracle of this single jar of oil.
Wow, the prophecy of Daniel was fulfilled over 300 years after it was uttered. It was an absolute miracle.
Yes, the Bible is full of history and prophecies that God is the Supreme One, who protects and preserves Israel from all anti-Semitic schemes. Do you remember the story of Pharaoh trying to destroy Israel? His chariots and army followed the people led by Moses into the Red Sea, and he ended up being drowned in the waves.
Yes. It happened early in the history of the people of Israel.
There was another history of how God protected his people. In the 6th century, before the Common Era, the Persian Empire was great. It stretched from Europe's Balkan Peninsula in the west, to India's Indus Valley in the east. There was a wicked man, Haman, who proposed to King Ahasuerus to annihilate all the Jews and the Jews living in the Persian kingdom. His plan was foiled by Mordecai, a wise Jew who refused to bow down to him. He has a beautiful cousin, Esther, who is also his adopted daughter. Esther has become the queen of the Persian king. Esther was very brave to save her people. She went uninvited to see the king and told him the plot of Haman. When the king heard about the wicked plot of Haman, he got very angry and wanted to kill him. It ended up Haman was killed, and the Jews were preserved. God can turn the sorrow of his people into joy.
Very interesting. Are there other stories and prophecies from the Hebrew Bible?
Yes, there are other stories and prophecies. You have heard anti-Semitic stories of Antiochus Epiphanes, Pharaoh, and Haman. In the book of Daniel, there are other prophecies related to how the world tried to destroy Israel and how God protected and preserved his people. Some have been fulfilled in the ancient world, but there are some to be fulfilled in the future. Do you remember the dream of Nebuchadnezzar? He had a dream in which he saw a big image. This image's head was of fine gold, its chest and arms of silver, its belly and thighs of bronze, legs of iron, its feet partly of iron and partly of clay. Daniel interpreted the dream for Nebuchadnezzar that the image represented 5 kingdoms. The first 4 kingdoms were Babylon, Medes Persia, Greece, and Rome. Each kingdom had a history of persecuting the Jews, and each one was defeated. The last kingdom is one made of partly iron and partly of clay. This last kingdom has not come yet. But the prophecy is that a rock cut out without hands would strike the image on its feet of iron and clay, and broke them in pieces. That rock is in our Hanukkah song, Ma Our Zur, Yeshuarti. My refuge, my rock of salvation. The rock is the Messiah. He was the stone once the builders rejected him, but he has become the cornerstone. One day, he will defeat all the enemies of the Jews and will be the everlasting king.
Please watch the next video about the Messiah. The stone the builders rejected has become the cornerstone.